Laurel. Welcome to Thelma
Mm,
Podcast. How are you today?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you very much. I'm happy to speak to you. Thank you as well for accepting my invitation to come on my podcast. It means a lot.
That's fine. I was meant to ask, is it audio and visual that you use or just the audio for your
I'm
podcast?
doing audio and visual. Can you see me?
Yes, I can.
Ah, cool. Perfect. Nice one. So, Laurel, so let's talk about your journey as a filmmaker. So, I believe you're a filmmaker and a producer.
Yeah, so my main hat is in producing. I also do first ADM and production management, but my main role is as a producer, yes, in film.
Okay. So, when did that started? When did you start?
Okay, cool. So I started around, I guess it was 2013 was my very first film set that I was on. That was for a short film that I had written as part of my my uh, my degree. So I
Mhm.
studied abroad for 4 months, and as part of that, I did a script writing course and I wrote a short film on there because it was very practical where I was studying. So yeah, that was one of the projects that I wrote, and it was one of those not what you know but who you know connections where I had met a friend who was in the business of film and TV, and I told him about my script, and he was like interested in it and said, he would want to make it one day. Fast forward a couple of years later, he got in contact and said, "Oh, I've managed to get you a crew," and I was like, "What? Wait, really?" So I was really excited about that, and yeah, so I was on that film as a writer, but because we were very much a small team, it was mainly women as well that he wanted to get experience on there. And most of us were all new. I had a lot of scope and was able to project a lot of my creative ideas on that film. It's not a good film, but it's definitely the first film that I made, and it's part of my journey. And on that project, there was an actress. Her name is Itoshia Hilton. She does a lot more behind the scenes now in terms of writing and directing for TV, mainly in film. But she was one of the supporting acts on that film. And from seeing me on that project, she approached me afterwards and was like, "I would love for you to produce, my short film." And I was like, "What?" Because she also, as I said, writes. And she was like, "Oh, yeah, because you was producing that." And I said, "Oh, no, no, no. I wasn't the producer, but the way in which I was able to, I guess, man the day somehow and project my ideas and stuff, she likened that to producing. So thankfully, because of her, I was able to step into that role. Um, so me doing that for my first time, I'm very much like a control freak and I love like organizing things. So those skills worked really well. And Itoshi told me from her perspective of being an actor what producing was. I also then tried to research it and then produced my very first short film, which was called Leah. And that was a proof of concept, and that was in 2013 initially. Then we did crowdfunding for it and made the short film again. But
Mm.
yeah, so that's actually how I got into producing. I never knew what producing was before then. Generally, when you watch films, you don't really notice that in credits. You more, unless you're in the industry, you more look at who's in front of the camera or maybe the director gets mentioned, but often the producer doesn't get mentioned. So yeah, that's how I fell into producing.
Yes, and you said you're also into production management. So can you explain what does that role involve? What do you actually do?
Yeah, so if you're doing production management, I guess it varies from project to project because you're working very close with the producer. So you're very much managing the production on a day-to-day,
Yeah.
in terms of making sure tasks get done, people are aware of what their tasks are, and even on set, sometimes you then become the head of the set working with the so I guess the first AD would be running the actual set itself and the times of how the day's going, and the production manager would then work with behind the scenes of making sure you can do what you need to do on set while everything else, all the other cogs are turning. So making sure people have arrived where they need to be there in the specific departments that the first lady can then find them, making sure catering is all above and sorted. And yeah, so I guess it's in terms, it all depends on the project, but you're just definitely managing the production. Um, and where you come on the projects varies from project to project. Sometimes I'm brought on as a production manager quite early. So that would be after the script is locked and maybe during the casting sides to help with some of the administrational tasks that are needed. Um, yeah.
So have you made, how many films have you made? Like short films you making only, or you making full features?
Okay, well, in terms of producing, I produce in different spheres. So I've done podcasts, radio. In terms
Nice.
of film specifically, I've done TV as well, but
Mhm.
it was like independent charity film production company. So in terms of film, mm, I couldn't tell you how many I've made, to be honest. Whether it's being a producer or production manager or first AD. I think in producing terms, I'm not sure, but most of them have been shorts. I've done web series as well, and I've been producer on two features that have um, been done independently as well. But mainly they've been shorts. I guess because they have a lot of scope for creativity, because funding is such a hard thing to get hold of. So it's
Mhm.
easier in many ways for us to get a story out via shorts. It could also be because you can use it as a way to practice your skills and learn. I've not necessarily not wanted to be doing more features, but I've often found the financing of them quite hard. So if I'm going by quality, it would be easier to jump on a
Mhm.
short film. But I'm definitely wanting to be part of a feature production, basically, where it's one that I can say had the funding that it well deserved. So I'm yet to be on one that's like that. So I
Mm.
think maybe around 10, I would say it's probably more than that. But yeah.
Well, that's cool. So, what type of film do you like to produce? Like, what type of theme or genre do you like to produce?
Yeah, it's a good question. I was on a panel literally this weekend for Women X Festival, which is in Darlington, and was kind of talking about this. I feel like most of the films I've produced have been the genre of drama.
Mm,
And that's not necessary. I think I love a drama. I think I love coming to age stories. I love watching and being able to relate to characters. But I also like psychological films where
me
it gets your
too.
brain going. So well, I've mainly worked on dramas, and that's mainly because they presented themselves, and that's what's been about, and I've loved the story. I have also tapped into comedy with a collective called Taking L's, which we came together during lockdown. So that was really cool. We've done three shorts. Yeah, we've done
Mm.
three shorts, and they've all been comedies. And this year I was able to work on my first psychological thriller.
Oh,
And one of the things that I learned from that genre is that it's a lot more expensive. And I think maybe that's also why drama genres are often more easier to produce because you can have them in like one room and just have two conversations, two people type of vibe. Whereas you can still do that, I guess, with a
mm,
psychological thriller, but you want to tap into different mediums and price range. So your lighting would definitely be different.
yeah.
Your special effects and aesthetics will be different. So the price does change in terms of getting across the same length of story.
Mm,
So yeah, I like the idea of psychological dramas and psychological thrillers. I think they're really cool because they leave you really trying to
mhm.
figure out whether you've understood the narrative correctly. So yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, it does. I wanted to ask you, why is it hard to get into the film making industry? Why do you think that is?
Um,
I mean, what do you think it's hard to get into?
yeah, I think that question can be a bit hard to unpack because I guess the comparison I would have is right now in this day and age, it's not hard to be famous, right? There's just different
Mm,
levels of fame. So
yeah.
you could be famous in a particular community because of your posts that you do on Instagram or your posts that you do on TikTok, or so you can have a presence, right? So I may not know that person as being famous, but somebody else will. So the reason why I gave that kind of reference is because I feel like in the film industry, it can be very much like that. I guess it considers what you class as the film industry. If for you, the film industry is getting to somewhere like Hollywood or the equivalent of that in the UK, which you don't really have,
No, no.
um, I would say it would be very hard to get into. But I feel like in this day and age, we're hearing and seeing so many ways that we can make films using what's in our hands. So like you saw the recent film with oh my gosh, why is his name just gone from me? I've forgotten his name. I don't know why. I can just see the film. But anyway, you can see films being made on the phone, on your
Yes.
mobile phones, right? And that's not a new thing to do. We've just got better at doing it. Why? Because our camera phones are getting better. The
Mm,
lenses are getting better. We're also learning how to use lighting better and to invest our time in that. So instead of just it being, oh, it's a film made on a phone, we're using rigs to carry the phones now. We're
mm,
getting permits to lock off streets to do these films. So we're putting more work into the pre-production of the level of a film done on a phone. So it's not just, oh, the phone is the easy option. So you could have a film with a phone and have so much pre-production in it as though it's done on like an Alexa or a Red or a Black Magic, or because you've decided to take the production value up, is what I guess I'm saying. So I feel like
mm,
any if you're looking at it from that level, getting into the film industry is literally you making a film. Do you get what I'm
mm,
saying?
mm,
But I guess it depends on what you see as your level of success, what that looks like for you, and what where you want your audience to be. And if that is the case of making not just making a film, but making sure the mass audience gets to see it.
yeah.
Um, I guess it's hard because you have to know people, unfortunately. You have to have a lot of conversations and make yourself present. One of the things is having a presence on social media really helps. If you
Yeah.
make a film and you are not really posting about it or getting people to talk about it, it will be very hard for you to be picked up. People also don't necessarily invest in things that they don't see has weight or have a strong team behind them. So that also makes that hard. So you need to have a strong team
Mm, yes,
to
true.
be able to get seen and heard and be
Yes.
trusted with money.
Mm,
So yeah, I think making films is not hard. Getting into the film industry depends on what part of the film industry you consider being film industry,
mm,
and definitely it takes a lot of work. It isn't a microwave type of environment. You often will hear like um someone's done a film and then they got famous overnight, we know that that's also just quite a reference, because if you look back in the history of that person, most of the time they've been acting for years. It's just been in films that maybe don't have IMDb credits, or they've had a lot of knocks throughout their career path, but it's not seen as a career path because it's not under the right certain names and stuff. So
mm.
it's very rare that you get somebody that's not done a lot of hard work a
Yes,
lot
it's
of
true.
conversations behind the scenes. So I feel like with a lot of things though, there's a lot of hard work that's needed. So yeah, I
Yes.
hope that
No,
makes
it
sense.
does. A lot of hard work, you're right. And in a way, you make sense because nowadays with phones, especially the latest iPhones, you can make anything. You can create a short film. You can even create a feature-length film. So, what advice would you give young people who want to get into the film industry? What would you advise them? What would be the first step into get to the film industry, you think?
The first step to get, I think the first thing I would say to do, so just to say it was Stormzy, I was trying to remember. I don't know why I could see his name, but I couldn't. But it was Stormzy that made the film Big Man with Apple. And I'm
Oh,
just referring
yes.
back to the last question. I'm saying that's not a new thing to do, but you can see that the production value of it was a lot higher than maybe some other films that we've seen on the phone. So I just wanted to make sure that I clarified that. But um, the first step I would say is to just definitely do. So if you have an idea, don't worry about what your role necessarily will be on the film. Don't worry about roles in particular, but get the idea down. So whether it's you write or you voice note, um, so that you can get that idea out there. And then I guess nowadays it's never really enough to just write a script. You also have to kind of be a producer naturally. So producing means getting a project going, right? It means
Yeah.
getting the things towards the project that it needs to actually be birthed. And I feel like gone were the days where you could write a script and then just submit it somewhere. Nowadays, writers even themselves have to learn the idea of pitching their ideas and pitching to people. So you have to, whatever your idea is, know that once you've got it, you have to find a way of how to translate that to somebody, whether
Yeah.
it's the person that has the money or it's the person that you want to work on the project. So you kind of have to tap into different skills of being a good communicator, finding out what helps to sell the idea that you have. So there's quite a few things that I would say you kind of need to do. But the main first thing I would say is if you have an idea, get it down and start seeing how you can flesh the idea out.
Okay. And to create the idea, so once you have the idea, what's the next process? So you have to start thinking about funding, of course. You need to start thinking about a team. Obviously, you
Yeah,
can't do everything yourself.
So I think that's what I was just saying, that you have to be able to communicate what your idea is. It would be good for you to research what kind of examples of things that you think are similar to the project that you have, so you can see how in which they were made, or even
Mm.
see the amount of crew that is with it. You can always make a project with minimal crew, to be honest, even the quite high level profiled films, but then you need the crew to all be very much established in their medium, and also be willing to do multiple jobs, which is
Yeah.
quite hard in this day and age. So once you've got that project and that idea out there, you then need to find out how you can present that to somebody. I think doing a lot of reading on how to create films would be a good idea. Getting
Yes.
yourself in places like film festivals, because they have different workshops and Q&As,
Mm.
and asking some of the questions that you have in those platforms would be a really good idea.
Mm.
Sorry, just as it off, can you hear my background noise?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, hold on. Can I just run and shut
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
door?
No problem.
Sorry, my door
That's,
opened. Is that better?
that's better. Thank you. Sorry. It wasn't that much,
No
to be
worries.
honest with you, so don't worry.
Okay. Okay.
So I
Okay.
wanted to ask you a couple more questions because I know you must be a very busy person. But have you got any work in the pipeline they can tell us, or it has to be ush ush?
Yeah, no, I do. At the moment, I've got quite a few things that I'm in development for. A few of them are documentaries that some may be international work as well. There's a few, yeah, I'd say the documentaries are the main things that look like they are close to moving, and they're feature documentaries. I am in the process of developing, sorry, extra
Mm-hmm.
words, a few scripts that are short. These are for people that are even new in the industry in terms of writing and making. So one of them is an actor, and he's got an idea that he really wants to birth, and he feels like a lot of the roles that he's been offered are kind of caging him in. So he's got a script idea that he wants to run with to be able to show that he can do more than some of the roles that's being offered. So that's one of the shorts. One of them is of an amazing writer and director who's just got quiet at the moment. Their work's got quiet, so they wanted to tap
Mm.
into some of their own stuff. So that's another short. So it's something that can just keep the juices flowing, when you're not getting the paid work that you wanted to get in. So yeah, there's a few things in the pipeline, and at the moment it's literally doing pitch decks and reading through scripts and giving feedback, trying to draft budgets and researching different fundings that's potentially out there, and having to actually go through these funding applications, which is very fun. Um,
Yeah.
and making sure that we can pitch and sell our projects and ideas well in those application forms.
Yeah, fine. And my last question is there anyone in particular that you would like to work with in the future, like famous actors, directors?
Yeah, I think I usually have like a list of people because I always find this question hard, but if I go like off the top of my head, just spontaneously right now, I really like the actress Sarah Knowles. I think she's
Oh,
really
me
amazing.
too.
And also Joe Martin. There's a lot of actors that I like their work and would like to work with them. In
Mhm.
terms of producers, I really like let me think now. I try to work with people that are UK a lot. I feel like we're
Mhm.
unrecognized, and I
True.
feel like the key is definitely collaborations. So yeah, there's a few people that I guess are around me that I'd love to work with. And it's not necessarily because they've got massive accolades or anything like that. It's just I feel like it's really good to, for me personally, see other fellow Black female producers
Yes.
or in the space. I really like the work of Sheila Nottley. I think she's an amazing person. I've been able to meet her before. So yeah, like I feel like they used to be my list used to be like Spike Lee's and Amma Asante, who is British, and there's nothing wrong with also wanting to do those things, but I also don't take lightly just every opportunity that I'm given in life to just do the best with whoever I'm working with. So yeah, I think there's a
Mhm.
lot of people as well in my space that I have had the privilege of working with that I'm enjoying too. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, nice. I want to say well done for your amazing career as well. I know it's not easy. The
Thank
filmmaking industry,
you.
I'm quite familiar with it, and I'm gonna say you're doing a good job. I've seen some of the things that you do. I can just say keep going. It's fantastic. And the next
Thank
step,
you very much.
it's a pleasure. Hopefully, one day I can get to meet you in person as well.
Yeah,
Be nice,
definitely.
nice one. So I hope you
Definitely.
have a
Well, thank
nice. Sorry.
I was going to say thank you so much for having me and finding me, however you
Pleasure.
found me. And obviously, you sent me your invitation ages ago. So I'm glad that we were able to get this in the bag for you and to meet as
Yes.
well.
Yes, great for both of us. Thank you. I hope you have a nice day and thank you again and well done for all your hard work.
Thank you very much. All the best with your podcast. And what's the name of your podcast?
Thelma's podcast.
Salmon Podcast. Well, thank you,
Thank you very
Salmon
much.
Podcast.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye bye, darling.